Hello there, my name is Llewellyn Griffiths. I also like to be called Nile Pudding on the internet, and I've been developing little games for over 10 years now. Completely as a hobbyist, I mostly do it for fun, and I'm the kind of person who just makes hundreds of projects, many of which are unplayable or in really strange states. And I find in many ways this is quite a burden. Like it feels like I have a lot of stuff to do, and I'm often overwhelmed by new ideas or old ideas which I think I should finish. So this video is kind of like a place for me to show a few of my old projects that I think I need to let go of, and also provide a place for people to have a look at the code and play the games themselves if they want to. So, without further ado, I'm going to jump into these little games and give a little explanation. Enjoy! Okay, so first of all, this is a game, a sort of simulation game I made quite a long time ago called Bears Like Fire. And it's strangely a game about setting bears on fire. Yeah, which is quite cruel. But anyway, so if I press space to begin. Oh, is that a bug? Yeah, so there's a bit of fire there, but it's not spreading. So basically, you've got all these bears, and they're running around these brown squares, and these what is it? These dark green are kind of like food, and I think you can see that the bears will start eating it. I think it should start disappearing. But essentially, I have to like murder the bears. As many as possible. So yeah, don't question what I was thinking about this. But I guess it's an interesting simulation. And essentially this kind of yellow grass spreads the fire faster than the green grass. So if I click over here, top right, then you'll see that the fire kind of starts to spread. And bears will light on fire, and once they light on fire, they'll try and run to the nearest water source. I don't know if these bears will make it. Oh, 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 there we go. There you go, that bear survived. He managed to put out a fire. This one is not doing so good. Oh no. Essentially, you can only set fire in one place, and then there is a scoring system. Oh no, he's gone. That's not so good. And then I think if I click space, yes, I get a nice little quip here. What is wrong with you? There's gone 10. Oh my god! And then desolation and score. So I think it's like the score, the bears that you set on fire is multiplied by the desolation. But yeah, so like I said, maybe don't question the politics of this game, but I think it's an interesting simulation, and if it's made in Game Maker, so if you want to have a look how it works, please be my guest and have a look. Okay, so here's the next game, and I'm actually really proud of this, and maybe I'll return to it in the future. But this game is called KTK, which stands for Kill the King. So the idea, it was kind of like a really fast game where you had to like assassinate a king. And you can see I play this character down here, which I control by clicking and dragging. And then by holding down the space bar, I can hold an arrow and then I can shoot. And I can also pick up my arrows, although I think that one's embedded in the wall. And you saw there was some sort of particle effects here. So basically the idea is I've got a system of how they hop around. I really like how the audio works with this. This is also made in Game Maker, by the way. And you can see these guards, they have swords. And it's pretty simple in that the guards will kill you in one hit if their sword hits you. And if they see you, they will run towards the last location. So if I do that, then they get bamboozled. So their AI isn't very intelligent. They will walk to the last known place they saw you, and then they'll have a look around, but not a very intelligent look around. So what I'm going to try and do is take out this guy at the bottom. Oh, so he's stuck on a wall, but if I... Oh, that. Now I think I have 3 arrows and I can pick them up, so I need to be careful. Oh, there we go. And I guess I've won the level. So I'm really proud of this game, and I'm proud of how the code works as well. If I remember correctly, it's quite neat. I might be wrong. I might have totally forgotten that. And there's some neat particle effects that I'm pleased with, and you can see like when I run over the blood, it kind of smushes, and I can shoot arrows into the wall, and it makes particle effects. I'm really proud of this game, and I would like to revisit it, but it wasn't to be. So hence I'm going to bury it in my game dev graveyard. Anyway, next game. This is my next game called Stone the Crows, and this is also made in Game Maker. And this is another one I'm quite proud of, although it didn't go very far. So essentially, you play a cat, and the idea is you have to chuck rocks at crows. I've forgotten. Oh, there we go. So I can pick things up with S, I think, and then I think I can throw them by holding down A. Oh, so I can pick things up with S and they go in my mouth, and then if I hold down A, oh, there's a little bar above my head, and then if I let go, whee! And you can see the crows that are upside down are the crows that have died, I believe. So there is kind of a bug where if a crow hits a rock, even if the rock has 0 velocity, the crow dies, which is interesting. But the idea with this game is that you're a cat that is awful at catching crows, so you have to throw rocks at them instead. And you can sit down as well by hitting them by pressing the downward arrow key. And you can run as well. You go boop, 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 and they do a little hop. Dee, 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 dee. So I'm really proud of how the cat emotes, and it is very simple, but you get it immediately. You know how you can sit down, how you can pick things up, and they go in your mouth. I think you can. Oh yeah, I can jump with spacebar. So I think it has like a really simple, just like appeal and empathy with the cat, and I'm very pleased with that. And I think it's just cute how you can, pick things up and chuck them. And then with the birds, so basically the birds will randomly find perches to sit on, and then they'll animate in a sort of like I don't know how I did it. I've forgotten how I did it, but kind of like I use a sine wave for them to like do it in an arc. It's kind of hacky, but it looks nice. And they'll also like run away from you. So if I run towards them, they'll change course and fly towards these different perches. So I think it's really cool. And this idea kind of stemmed from a sort of open world game that I wanted to make that I de-scoped into this game, which I never released. But that game was like a sort of open world game where you're a cat that sneaks into people's houses, and I had some really complex routine systems for NPCs that did not work out very well. But anyway, yet again, made with Game Maker. The code is available if you want to take a look. Thank you. On to the final game, at least for this video. So for the wow. So for the final game, I thought we'd end on something a bit more thematic, and this is barely a game, really. In that you can't do much. You can just walk around a procedural graveyard, and it's not even particularly procedural. So I've got these 4 different gravestones here. Boop, 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 boop. These 4. And then I have an array. I basically just have an array of game objects. This one's made in Unity. I have an array of game objects, and I just randomly pick the gravestones. And yeah. And then I added this sort of post-processing effect that I believe I copied and pasted from a forum on how to do this, like pixeling effect. Because there was a game at the time, there was an indie horror game called Hide at the time that did this. and I was quite inspired by that. You see, oh, there you go, found some found some collision. Can I fit through? No, gonna have to go through here. But so this is basically it. So you can walk around the graveyard, and you can look into the horizon. And I think one thing that I'm really pleased with this in retrospect is by picking this post-processing effect, I give this illusion, because this array of gravestones is not too large. It's maybe, or maybe it is quite large. It might be 100 by 100 maybe? But because of this post-processing effect, you get this illusion that it kind of continues forever, which I think is really, it's quite striking. And one thing that inspired me to do this was a game and a book, a poetry anthology book called The Spoon River. I've crashed. Oh my god, and now I'm upside down. Oh, okay. So it was a book I came across called The Spoon River Anthology, and I came across it from a Kickstarter of a game called Boon Hill. And essentially, the original poetry book is an anthology collection of poems of epitaphs from people's graves. And the game that was kind of based on that, called Boon Hill, was doing a similar thing, although not in 3D. It was a top-down game. So that's kind of where I got this inspiration to do a procedural graveyard. And this was one of the first things I did in Unity, I believe. But yeah, so that's the games I have to show you. So essentially, I encourage you, especially if you're the kind of person like myself who makes hundreds of projects and never finishes them, I encourage you to basically try and bury some of your games and let go of them and release them in any state, even if they're unplayable. I would release them so then you can kind of let go and continue with your other projects. Yeah, so I hope you've enjoyed this little forage into my mind and some of the games I've made. I have lots of unfinished games, and if you're interested, I would like to show more of them to you. In fact, even if you're not interested, I will probably show more of them. But anyway, thank you for staying along, and I'll see you around. Goodbye. Oh my god, that's fascinating. Yeah, definitely my first Unity project. Look. Ooh. Okay. Goodbye.